Hello, everyone. My name is Francesca Hillery. I'm a member of the Round Valley Tribes and Director of Programs and Partnerships for Tribal Carbon Solutions at Global Ocean Health. I also serve as Public Affairs and Partnerships Director for the Indigenous Greenhouse Gas Removal Commission, the IGGRC. Whitney Jones, the convening Executive Director of IGGRC, is with us today to discuss the recent launch of the commission and what is ahead. I want to give a bit of background on Whitney first to introduce her. Whitney is a member of the Squaxin Island tribe in Washington State. She brings more than 25 years of experience in executive leadership. She previously served as the Deputy Executive Director of the Squaxin Island tribe. Additionally, Whitney's dedication to advancing tribal interests led her to become the Executive Director of the South Puget Intertribal Planning Agency, where she provided leadership and direction for the tribal consortium. Whitney's commitment to tribal communities is further underscored by her past role as an elected tribal council member. Welcome, Whitney.
Thanks, Francesca. Glad to be here today.
Before we turn to our announcement and discussion about the IGGRC, I'm going to do a brief overview of the work Partnerships for Tribal Carbon Solutions has done since the program launched 2 years ago. Partnerships for Tribal Carbon Solutions grew from the vision of the late Terry Williams, a treaty rights director at the Tulalip Tribes, of which he was a member. Terry established the EPA's Indian office during the Clinton administration and later helped shape multiple U.S. and regional initiatives in climate change. After serving on our board for many years, he co-founded Partnerships for Tribal Carbon Solutions. Following the 2018 IPCC report, Terry was persuaded that tribes need to build capacity to exert leadership in the emerging carbon and greenhouse gas removal industry. Partnerships for Tribal Carbon Solutions has successfully supported participating tribes and First Nations to evaluate, select, govern, and develop carbon removal activities through education, convenings, and tours of CDR sites. The central component of this work has been the launch of 3 committees looking into critical issues in CDR: the Indigenous Strategy Group, Law, Policy, and Governance, and Marine CDR. We are currently in the process of developing research-driven roadmaps to chart options for governing the field, financing tribal climate tech projects, assessing CDR opportunities, and applying carbon tech to strengthen tribe and water sovereignty. And finally, we fiscally sponsored a new Indigenous lead entity to build tribal capacity nationwide, the Indigenous Greenhouse Gas Removal Commission. Whitney, I've shared a bit of your background, but can you talk about how you came to this work?
I'd be happy to. I've been lucky to have spent the majority of my career working in Indian country. And most of that time has been supporting and enhancing the health and well-being of tribal families and communities. The variety of work that I've done over the years has helped me to see how individual and community wellness is tied together with overall aspects of quality of life. Climate change affects every facet of our lives, and it is a threat to more than just our environment. It absolutely directly affects the health of our people. So, in addressing climate change, it's important that tribes are on the forefront of decision-making for our future. It's critically important for Indian country and for tribal sovereignty. I'm excited that this project allows me to continue advancing tribal interests and ensuring that the voices of tribal communities are heard at local and regional and national levels.
Who will the IGGRC serve, and what are the goals and objectives for the commission going forward?
The intent is that the commission is going to act as a tribally governed body to consider greenhouse gas removal industry issues and how the emergence of that industry is going to affect tribal communities. So the role of the commission may grow and it may be shaped by its membership with the help of an advisory panel too. We believe that an intertribal commission can serve as a platform for collaboration between tribes and researchers and industry experts and policymakers. So as of right now, we have 5 major priority areas identified. First priority is climate change mitigation. We know that climate change poses significant threats to tribal lands and cultures and livelihoods. So it's essential for us to look at taking more proactive measures to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and stabilize the climate. But environmental and equity and justice is really important too, because historically tribes have really had to take on a disproportionate burden of environmental degradation and climate impacts. Sovereignty and self-determination, also very important. And the IGGRC is going to work to support tribes interested in developing their own greenhouse gas removal initiatives. Cultural and ecological preservation is also important because we know that tribes have deep-rooted connections to the land and natural resources, and that our traditional knowledge systems have been proven to be valuable in managing those ecosystems. And then another priority area is economic opportunities, because by engaging in activities such as carbon farming or reforestation or renewable energy development, tribes can create jobs and generate revenue.
Why is greenhouse gas removal critical at this juncture, and why should tribes care about it?
Great question. It's really important to state that we are going to continue to focus on lowering emissions as well. We got to transition away from fossil fuels and decarbonize all sectors of energy and transportation and shipping. But we want to see some natural solutions that are safe and sustainable to maximize co-benefits for communities. In addition to those natural solutions, we want to explore engineered and hybrid solutions too. Tribes already hold government-to-government negotiations with federal agencies, and a lot of those tribes are indispensable leaders in ecosystem restoration and in resource management. We are focusing on the ability for the tribes to continue being involved in those industries, and the importance of greenhouse gas removal to Indian country can't be overstated. Tribal lands are frequently going to hold vast carbon sequestration potential. And engaging in removal strategies is not only going to help combat climate change on a global scale, but it also allows those tribal nations to take proactive measures to protect territories and cultures.
Carbon and GHG removal technologies are in the research and development phase currently. Engaging tribes now builds more influence in how the industry develops. Can you tell us why an intertribal commission is essential in this context, insofar as engaging tribes now?
Yes, I want to stress the importance of Indian country being at the forefront of this emerging industry. They've got to be at the table. Long-term planning is really crucial because carbon or GHG removal technologies have the potential to shape the future of our planet for generations to come. And so engaging tribes in the early stages of development is going to allow for that long-term planning and considers intergenerational impact of technologies on tribes and tribal lands. Land rights and consent is also critically important. Indigenous communities have legal rights to their traditional territories, and their consent is crucial for projects that might impact these lands. A commission can facilitate meaningful consultation and collaboration to that end. And then I want to mention some ethical considerations because carbon removal technologies might have unintended consequences, and their deployment needs to be guided by ethical principles. And so having this intertribal commission can provide a forum for discussing those implications and then help shape the development of future activities.
How will the commission build a knowledge base tribes can trust when they consider these opportunities?
I really appreciate that question because trust is going to be and currently is at the core of what we do. And when I think of trust in this work, I think of meaningful tribal engagement because we need to recognize that each tribe has unique cultural and sovereign status. So we're available to help tailor our knowledge base to the specific needs that each nation or community is going to have. But scientific rigor is also key, and we're developing an advisory panel of leading scientists and experts and researchers who specialize in greenhouse gas removal technologies. And then, with any project, continuous improvement is also really important. So we're going to actively seek feedback from the tribes we're working with and the tribes that we continue to reach out to, and to other stakeholders to help refine our approach and adapt to changing needs and circumstances.
One final question for you. What are the immediate goals of following the launch of the IGGRC? What's happening in the next year?
Lots of activities in the next year. First, I want to say that the IGGRC is going to be working diligently to expand its membership base. We have got to ensure a broad representation of tribal voices and perspectives in these initiatives and in the decision-making processes. So we'll be continuing to provide outreach and awareness and look to have tribes join us in this effort. And that outreach, awareness and education is really important. We want to have some educational campaigns to raise awareness about the greenhouse gas removal industry and the opportunities and risks associated with it. And the IGGRC is also going to actively engage with governments, tribal governments, international organizations, and other stakeholders to advocate for policies and regulations that recognize and support Indigenous contributions to greenhouse gas removal. And we do need some resource mobilization. We are actively seeking funds and resources from governments or philanthropic organizations and private sector partners to support our initiatives and expand our impact.
Great. Thank you all for joining us here today. We are excited about the work ahead, both for the Partnerships for Tribal Carbon Solutions, as well as the Indigenous Greenhouse Gas Removal Commission. I also want to thank Fawn Sharp, our senior advisor. Fawn served 2 terms as president of the National Congress of the American Indians and as president of the Quinault Indian Nation for 5 terms. Fawn's passion and vision for this work has been critical in establishing the IGGRC, and she is now the founding president of this newly launched organization. Thank you, Whitney, for being here with us today and giving us the opportunity to hear why this work is so important. Finally, I want to thank our funders and advisors who have helped to make our work possible. Thank you.